Okay. So who's I talking to? Where'd you disappear? Penny, there you are. Okay. So if please ask me any questions you want while we're talking. It's okay, and I'll do my best to answer. So again, welcome everybody to the introduction to shamanism. It's just an introduction, but I don't know at what level you are. I don't know what you know or not, or don't know. So I'm just going to give you the basics. Penny was asking me, what is shamanism? What are shamans? So the most prevalent definition is that shamans connect with the spiritual world and with spirits, and they bring the information, wisdom, knowledge, insights, and healing to this world. So they're middlemen, or middle women, who are the connection between this world and the spirit world. Okay, any questions, specific questions you might have? Anybody? We're all muted here. You can unmute, it's okay. I would like this to be interactive. Madiha, anything?
No, I'm just for now, like there are certain things, but I want you to finish first and then ask the question so that, you know, if there's any queries left, I'll still ask. So for now, it's fine. So yeah.
Okay. So we have three, well, you know, I'm doing this to get a feel for people since I can't see you. I get a feel for people to see how deep we're going to go into this. But there are usually three levels of shamanism. So the first level would be sorcery, or they call them in Peru, brujos. Sorcery, you have white sorcery, you have black sorcery, and then the next level would be healing, and then the next level would be Christ consciousness or ascended masters consciousness. Now, in my experience, I've been working for, I don't know, maybe 20 years in Peru. I still been working for many years in Peru. Most of the shamans I've seen, it's nice to see faces. That way I'm not talking to a computer, you know. So in my opinion, most people in Peru, the shamans in Peru are mostly sorcerers, believe it or not. A lot of them are into power, in other words, money, you know, and other things. They have their own agendas. And I say this after many, many years of working with them, with many different shamans. And what I noticed is that it's very difficult to find a shaman that is really Christed. When I say Christed, I mean Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness, ascended masters consciousness. Those people who have gotten and reached a level of consciousness which is basically love. Okay, so that's why we call this, I think Camille actually called this the journey of the heart, because what I am aspiring to and what I'm guiding people to do is to go all the way to the third level, to that ascended master's consciousness level. Now, for those, I need to know if you believe in spirits. Do you pray? Do you believe in God, most of you? Are you atheist? Do you believe in a higher power? Just a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, I do believe in God, and I do pray 5 times a day, and yeah.
Okay, who am I speaking to? Because I can't see you. Where are you?
Sorry?
Yeah, who's that? Am I speaking to Madiha? Hi, Madiha.
Yeah, that's Madiha. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Prayer will get you connected. Just as we pray to God, other people pray to, you know, Jesus or to Buddha or to the Prophet Muhammad. It doesn't matter. Prayer is actually invoking a spirit, the spirit of Jesus, the spirit of. So in our Arabic world, usually people are afraid. They say, you know, Mark, you're working with spirits. And then I usually tell them, yes, but, you know, do you pray? They say, yes. Well, you're invoking a spirit as well. Just for you to know, I only work with benevolent spirits. I do not work with lower energy vibrations at all. Just so you know, it's important that you know that, because, again, most shamans that I've met in the world are sorcerers. whether you're a white sorcerer or not, to me, they're still into power. And that is very, very enticing once you get that power and that feeling that you can change things pretty easily. Usually, you will get drunken with power, and we know that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Very true. I never heeded my teachers when they said that until I went through a crisis myself, and I understood that. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you that if you take this course, you're going to be connecting with spirits, archangels, angels, God, of course, because they're all extensions of the divine creative consciousness, which I call God or source or pure consciousness or pure love. Okay? Now the Pleiadians, yes, no, tell me.
So just a quick question, يعني becoming a shaman or a shamanic healer, is it something that anyone can achieve, or is it only, I mean, you know, is it an acquired skill through practice and a journey, or is it specific chosen people who actually become?
A good question. Most people have a calling for it, but the truth is we're all created in the image of God, so therefore we all have this capacity to talk and communicate with spirits. The spirits are always around us. Your guardian angel is always with you. The thing is, we're not listening. So what I'm going to show you in the course is how to connect. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to show you how to connect with your higher selves. Pretty easy to do, but most of the time, the biggest limitation is your belief. So what I say, always faith it until you make it. Not fake it, but faith it until you make it. So did I answer your question, or is there another part of your question?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so what I believe in is not only God first and foremost, or source, but I also believe in spirits. Now for shamans, everything's a spirit. This is a spirit. A pen's a spirit. Your hand's a spirit. The spirit of water, the spirit of the chair is a spirit. So it's as if we're saying I'm invoking. Invoking means to call in the spirit of whatever. So it's as if you're calling in an energy. The spirit of peace would be the energy of peace, or the spirit of love or divinity would be the spirit or the energy of love and divinity. Now some people, and I used to ask my teachers all the time, why do I have to work with all these spirits? Why can't I just work with source like they do in theta healing? Correct? That makes sense. Well, the point is it's a lot more practical because all these spirits are an extension of God. So if I want, let's say, the spirit of knowledge, or the spirit of peace, or the spirit of nobility, the spirit of, let's say, strength, oneness, the spirit of, how would I say that, awareness, whatever little challenge you might have in your daily life will be helped by the spirit or the energy of something. And that is what makes it so practical, because I wouldn't want to bother God in my own way of thinking for little things like, you know, help me with this this little project I have. I would personally feel a little bit strange, even though a lot of people do it. I would call in the spirit of engineering and architecture, for example, or something to that effect. Why am I telling you this? It's the same thing as connecting with any energy you might need at the time. Again, they're all extensions of one. We're all one, correct? Okay. And again, we do live in a duality. You know, this duality actually needs evil. You cannot live in duality, which we have chosen to do, without any evil whatsoever. The only point is now we need to, you know, decrease a little bit on the evil side to balance out the light and the darkness. But if you think that we're going to get rid of evil completely in this world, forget it. It ain't going to happen, because that's not what we chose. So the other level of shamanism besides sorcery would be healing. That's another level. Healing, you can call in the spirit of God if you want, the great spirit, the Indians call him. You can call in the spirit of love, the spirit of strength, the spirit of a thought, a high frequency thought. You can call in that spirit and replace anger or fear with courage. And believe, and like they say, believe in it and it will happen. I'm going to show you how to connect and believe and have it as a knowing. It's no longer going to be a belief, it's going to be a knowing. Now, I wish they had taught us this when we were younger, but it wasn't the case. Shamanism goes way back before any religion, or let's say any organized religion. It's a spiritual practice, it's not a religion. And people are confused. But remember, remember, like I always say, remember with source. Okay, that all of this, all of what we're doing is the same thing as being one with everything. You know that famous phrase, I am that I am? You know, this poor person is walking around and he's saying, I am that plant. I am. I am that chair. I am. I am that evil person. I am. Because we're basically all of it. And our psyche, we have all the whole universes and galaxies in our psyche. Not like Freud used to teach us a long time ago, with all due respect. We have the postnatal after you're born. We have also the perinatal and mother's womb, and we have the transpersonal. Now the transpersonal is the spiritual. It's a fancy name. Transpersonal, spiritual, imaginal, okay? This is a whole entire universe with bigger than universe, galaxies of universes and worlds and this and that. And this is what we're going to explore. So let me come back to the third level. We have sorcery, we have second one is healing, and then we have the third one, which is consciousness, Christ consciousness, or the consciousness of ascended master. Okay, so how do we do this? We need tools. Some of you know how to clear or ground or smudge, but some people do not. Some people know what we use smudging for. What is smudging for example? That's a basic tool of shamanism. People who clear the air, they usually use what? White sage?
Yeah,
correct?
Sage. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use Palo Santo. You can use cedar tree. Cedar tree is actually better when you're clearing a room from entities. It's stronger than, you know, white sage. In Peru, they have something that's called jungle smoke, which is mapacho. It's actually Peruvian tobacco. Peruvian tobacco is a chacaruna. Chacaruna is a link between this world and the other world. And you blow the intent. When you have an intent, you blow that intent and you send it out. The intent sticks to the smoke and goes to the other person, or goes to clearing and cleansing the room or the sacred space. Okay? So there are many, many ways of clearing, okay, or smudging, like most people call it. Why would anybody smudge? Give me some examples. For clearing, for protection, to invoke spirits. Why else would anybody smudge? Anybody? I just want to know where we are. People smudge for all these reasons. You can also smudge to open the heart. You can also smudge to open up a ceremony. Okay, so it's not only, most people think it's only for clearing or cleansing. It's also for protection. Okay, it all depends on your intent. Okay, has anybody done ayahuasca here in the group, just to know? No? All right. Okay, so ayahuasca is a plant that some shamans use. You do not have to use plant medicine or anything to become a shaman. You do not at all. I'm just one who prefers to use the plant medicine. So of course I work with shamans in Peru, and that's the way They do it. Ayahuasca is a brew that will connect you very easily to the spiritual, but you do not need it, and it's not for everybody in order to become a shaman. All right, so another tool would be, if you don't have the white sage, a lot of people call in the violet flame. You can call it the violet flame or the divine white light and cleanse a space, okay, or cleanse an object or cleanse a person. Why am I telling you this? You don't necessarily have to use one method, or the white sage or the Palo Santo, whatever it is. There are many, many ways that you can use in order to cleanse and protect and ground, okay? Grounding, we can use ground. People ground all the time in their theta healing or other types of healing. You can ground by rattling with a rattle. This is a rattle. So I'll show you how we can do that. You can also hold a stone in your hand, a stone like this, in order to ground with Mother Earth a lot faster. And then you do that once, and then as soon as you touch the stone, you can ground immediately. These are little techniques that, you know, shamans do or teach at the beginning of the shamanic course or shamanic healing course. I'm telling you this because there are many ways to do it. Okay, again, I think that the shamanic way is the easiest because they have so many ways of doing things. And also, people usually ground by imagining that their roots are going from their feet all the way down deep into Mother Earth. That's one way. Another way is to balance the left and right side. Another way would be to invite the light into your crown chakra to go through all your chakras and down into Mother Earth. That's another way. These all rely on what? The imagination. The problem with that is that some people cannot do it. So what do? As shamans, and I believe that shamans are the best hypnotists alive today. Shamans are great hypnotists. That's how I started many, many years ago. I became a hypnotist after I finished my doctorate degree. For some reason, I didn't like economics that much. I went into this world and I became a hypnotherapist. And with time, I learned that the shamans are the best hypnotherapists. Now, let me tell you why. If you want to ground, if you use 3 senses, let's say the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic. So this would be the auditory, right? Imagining something would be the visual. Holding the rock or shaking the shakapa or the rattle would be kinesthetic. As long as you're combining 3 senses, you will go straight into hypnosis. You see, the weakness of the student is that, Mark, I can't visualize. Well, of course, not everybody visualizes. But if you imagine by using 3 senses and more senses, you will go straight into a non-ordinary state of consciousness. You'll be able to go into a trance at will. Now, that's the basic tool of a shaman. Most people, even hypnotherapists that I've known all over the world, because I love hypnotherapy and I've been all over the world, still don't understand this concept. As soon as you combine 3 senses or more, you will find a state of trance, just like this. That's crucial to be able to journey into other worlds. Who goes into a trance very easily? Right now? Anybody?
For me, it's not that, it's Madiha. For me, it's not that difficult, but yeah, I do sometimes. I mean, yeah, well, with Reiki, yeah, I go. Like, I would say it's a time travel.
Sure.
And other than that, yeah, it can be anything that can trigger maybe a music or something like that. If like I'm so much into it, like I go into trance. So yeah.
Okay. So did they teach you when you imagine or you go into or time travel or into a journey, did they tell you that if you use a crystal, a quartz crystal like this, that it will help you tremendously to start with? This crystal will open up your 3rd eye. A lot of people don't use it for that. The thing is, always remember, if you use 3 senses, you will get a trance at will, instantaneously, very easily. Now, that's the biggest obstacle of the student usually in shamanism. Another thing is that journeying, for example, they use the word visualize, which doesn't really work. So journeying, in other words, means to explore other worlds, the underworld, the upper world, the middle world. To make it easy for you to understand, it would be to do out-of-body experiences, or it would be to talk telepathically, to go to the world of in the underworld, to the palace of divinity, or to the place of wisdom, or to the place of knowledge, to connect with your principal guide, to connect with the archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, to find out you know, who your principal guide is, who your power animal is. All these things is what we're going to do in the course, in the shamanic course. But first and foremost is to know how to go into a trance. Now, again, in my opinion, the shamans are the best in doing that, and they're the best at teaching that. So we will do that in order to start the journey, okay? Another thing is, you'll learn also how, for example, to create and open a sacred space. You have 7 directions. So let's say your place is right here, and I want to create a safe and sacred place. Then I need to know how to, for example, you know, make it sacred. Some people place candles, you know, in front of you, behind you, next to you, on the right, and then they imagine a safe place above and a safe place below. That's 6 directions. We actually have 7 directions. One is to go into the heart as well, where everything exists as well. So that's another thing about journeying that people will encounter. When it comes to, when it comes to transpersonal states, you'll meet with power animals. Let me read the list of transpersonal states so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. You'll probably identify with group consciousness. For example, a sense of turning into a whole group of victims or martyrs. You actually tap into that consciousness. You can tap into the consciousness of an eagle. All of a sudden, in holotropic breathwork, that happens a lot. You can tap into whatever animal and become an eagle. So now your sense of identity has kind of disappeared, and you really believe you're an eagle, and you actually pick up on the eagle's habits, and you actually feel how an eagle sees things from the sky or the bigger picture. You can tap into other worlds and other beings. You can tap into a spaceship of the Pleiadians. Now we have a bunch of Pleiadians in our outer circle here that are giving us a lot of insights and are helping us. Is anybody familiar with that? No? Am I getting too weird for you?
No, you're not. And if you can go into that a little bit more, I'd be very interested.
Okay, so Penny, this is part of shamanism. The Pleiadians are now telling us, you know, that we need to go up into higher vibrations. They're telling us that the 5G is extremely dangerous, that it causes cancers. They're telling us that the only way for us to protect ourselves is to start, believe it or not, fasting 1 or 2 meals a day. It's also about moving up our vibrations into higher consciousness levels. They are still not really interfering, but they're there to support us. Now, I don't know how much I can go into this, but at least Penny is interested. What I can say is that we're going from an ego-based consciousness to a heart-based consciousness, and that it's going to be very difficult for people who are still in the game of power and ego. It's going to be very difficult. You're going to be pushed, like I said yesterday in the conference, you're going to be actually pushed to go into a higher consciousness level, and it might be very painful for those who are not ready. Now, painful, physically painful, emotionally painful. This is why I'm doing this, and this is why I'm teaching shamanism, because I'd like to show you how to go to a higher level of consciousness and to clear the karma. The best way to clear karma is to forgive, 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 and forgive some more. Forgive yourselves, especially. So again, shamanism is not only about connecting with spirits, but it's also about the concepts of forgiveness. It's also about the concepts of where the world is headed. It's also about the concept of oneness. It's also about the concept of eternal life. It's especially the concept of the divine creative consciousness. And as you know already, there's a lot of extraterrestrial activity going on. Okay, I'm going to say it, it's okay. I'm going to say that a lot of the leaders in the world are being influenced by, other aliens, the reptilians mostly. A lot of us are being influenced by the Pleiadians. All of you here, I believe, are light workers, so you might not know where your origins are from, but that's a course that's coming in May that will give a course on light workers and how we can learn to go from the ego-based to the heart-based consciousness. Another thing that the Pleiadians are saying is that we have free will and that the outcome is not really sure about what's going to happen on planet Earth, but I believe that the light has already won. We just need to go through the motions. Now, does that mean it's going to be easy? I don't think so, Penny. I don't think it's going to be easy for a lot of people, but it is going to be a lot easier for people who are vibrating in a higher consciousness level. Now, what does that mean? That means we need to get rid of our attachments. We need to get rid of fear, or not get rid of, but transform fear, anger, guilt, stress, sadness, loneliness, and boredom. And the need for attention, the need for control, the need for security, the need for love, the need for oneness, the need to be so special, all those are based on fear. Now, why am I teaching the course on shamanism? Because this is the best way to do it. The easiest way. I've taken all sorts of courses, theta and pranic and hypnotherapy with many, many teachers, hypnotherapy all over the world. The French are great with self-hypnosis. The English are a lot better, and the Americans are a lot better at regression work. That's my opinion again. I could be wrong. The Russians are great at everything, by the way. And when it comes to hypnotherapy, that was, again, my experience. I could be wrong. Don't take it for an absolute truth. I'm just telling you what I'm feeling and what I've sensed over the years with around 30 years of experience. I've worked with plants a lot, and the best way, the most transformative way transformative way is shamanism. Now again, I need to know where you are, so please ask me questions. I don't want to tell you about the introduction to shamanism without knowing your feedback. I can go into depth into most subjects, and I'd like to give you what you want. Any questions on what I just said?
I just have a question that what is it going, like, is it going to impact our emotions when we're working with spirits? Like, will we be scared or moved or anything like that?
All right, good point. So there's nothing to be scared of course, because you're created in the image of God. And as a matter of fact, we're the only beings, not even the angels and the demons, which do exist, can even transmute the energies like we alchemists can. You need to know who you are. Madiha, we are very, very strong beings, extremely strong beings. As a matter of fact, we're kind of chosen. And I don't like to say that, but if you're living in this era, that means you've chosen to be here. And the truth is, yeah, it's not easy when you especially use the plant medicine, but you can go at your own pace. Shamanism, if you do not protect, and you will learn how to protect your space, protect your physical body and the other layers, then you will be safe and secure 100%. But if you're goofing around and you want to start experiencing with sorcery and whatever, then that's your choice. I'll tell you how to protect, and you want to protect not out of fear. You want to protect because, as a matter of fact, you're going to feel the protection, and you're going to let go of the fear. Once you know, capital K, that you're protected, then you can do the work. Does that make sense to you, Madiha?
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
Another way of protecting is to vibrate in love, or to vibrate with, you ask your guides, your archangel, whoever your guides are to be around you, you're protected. But you also have guardians of the gates, guardians to other worlds. You can ask them to protect you, okay? If you don't like the word spirit, use the word energy. I invoke the energy of, I invoke the energy of whatever, instead of saying I invoke the spirit of, because some people are afraid of spirits. The truth is, there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing, really nothing to be afraid of. You're eternal, you're loved, you need a little bit of knowledge. Ignorance is what you should be afraid of. Ignorance leads to what? Evil. That's it. If you're ignorant about the world, you're ignorant about other beings, ignorant about other dimensions, ignorant about the ego, ignorant about your shadow self or your light self, then guess what? You're going to suffer until you become less ignorant. The journey to higher consciousness level usually requires suffering. So you want to do it the easy way, or do you want to do it the hard way? It's up to you. I've chosen the easy way. I've had enough hard stuff.
Perfect.
Too hard. I've been doing this too much. So, okay, before I'm going to show you how to connect with your higher selves, any more questions? What time is it? Okay, so we still have a lot of time. We have 25 minutes. So ask me some more questions, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to connect with our higher selves. Please, Noha, tell me.
So I have two questions. The first one, if you can elaborate a little bit on when you said, we tap into other worlds and beings. So I understood the spirit world, but can you elaborate how these worlds look like? And it's again building on that question of, is it scary? And what are the dangers of doing this right or wrong? My second question is about, once you tap into your higher self, how do you stay there?
Yeah, very good question. I wish we could just tap into it and stay there. It doesn't work that way. The way it works is that we integrate it slowly and surely with time. Why? Because you can tap into something, but it doesn't mean that you have integrated it. Now, in a session, you have the preparation, you have the session, you have the integration. Most people concentrate on the session. You want to concentrate on the preparation and the session and the integration. So it will come with time. But I'll tell you another thing. I think it was Penny that asked me, tell me about the Pleiadians a little bit more. They actually asked us to become masters at managing our emotions. What are the emotions? Again, the seven primary emotions: fear, anger, guilt, stress, sadness, loneliness, and boredom. 7. Then you have the secondary, which is frustration, then depression. You don't need drugs to get rid of the depression. What you do need is know how to manage the first 7 primary emotions. That's it. Now, the more you work on your inner child, the more you're going to get rid of fear. It's actually exciting and thrilling. You probably will be surprised a little bit. And then, if you're well protected, which is easy to do, then there's nothing to fear whatsoever. But I'm an adventurer. What about you, Noha? Do you like exploring?
100%. I mean, I think life is not worth it if you don't explore and
That's what it's all
learn.
about. That's exactly.
The learning is important to evolve, and that's why I was asking, how do you sustain it? Because in my journey, I have had a lot of learnings, and at many points in time, I felt a sense of purity. But the issue is, because I haven't mastered my emotions, I guess, I'm never able to keep it going for a long time. So I go through periods of...
Yeah, I'm familiar with that, Noah. That's why I'm excited to talk about this. The truth is, once you transform fear, that's it. You're going to skyrocket. It's all about fear, and most fears are derived from the fear of dying, believe it or not. Some people say, no, I'm not afraid of dying. But then when they face it, in shamanism, you will face it if you work with plant medicine. Not necessarily with shamanism without the plant medicine. You will face a death and rebirth eventually. And breath work you will, and hypnotherapy sometimes, and shamanism definitely. If you use entheogens, definitely. So the point I'm trying to make is this is extremely exciting. It cannot be more exciting than this. We're here on earth to experience. And once we've experienced everything, the dark and the light, and you most probably in your past lives have killed people and been murderers and all sorts of stuff, normal, no problem. Embrace the shadow self, embrace it all. Now transcend it. And the way to transcend it is to say, I've lived as a, okay, I've lived the dark side, I've lived the light side, I know this, I know that. Now it's time. You will not transcend if you don't have all those experiences. But the fact that you're here in front of me means that you're ready, or else you wouldn't be here. Even if you have a little bit of interest, just a little bit, that means you're ready. So having said that, it's all about transforming the fears. Now, you might have fears you don't know about. Well, welcome to the club. That's why we did what we did last week about identifying and healing the fears. And it's usually from your inner child. The more time you spend with your inner child, the more you're going to heal. Now, if you're a little bit bored in your life, this is going to transform you completely and totally. And you're going to be a little bit shocked. A wonderfully loving type of shock. But you will be shocked if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. If you do not accept that spirits and extraterrestrials are all over the place nowadays, a lot more than a couple of months ago, actually, then you're going to be shocked. You're in for a shock. As a matter of fact, another thing Penny the Pleiadians said was that they are working on how to start to show themselves to us. And they said that humanity is not ready for it now. So they're going on in slow-mo now because they don't want to shock the heck or the bejesus out of us right now. But the truth is, it's coming. It's coming.
I hope so. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so, you know, another thing we can do in the journeys is also go and visit, you know, the Pleiadians, and their ships are all over now in our spaces. And you will probably have, maybe I do, you probably will also have guides that are Pleiadians. Wonderful, conscious living beings. You know, and then once you get used to that idea, then your whole life is going to transform. And whether you want it or not, it's going to transform anyway. Again, do you want to do it the easy way, or do you want to do it the hard way? I'm here as a facilitator. You're going to suffer either way, but you can suffer a little bit. I personally am tired of suffering. So give me your thoughts.
So, but you're mentioning the Pleiadians specifically. What about the other ones? What about Syrians? Or?
Okay, I'll tell you what I think about most others. Now, you have many types. But basically, the Pleiadians are helping us. They've been helping us without interfering for a long time. And basically, the others are saying that we've done a bad job with Mother Earth. And that we're suited to be... you know, living on Mother Earth, so they want to take over. It's basically like that. I know I'm not a character from Star Trek, guys, but I'm telling you, this is real. So
what you're saying is resonating so much with me, which is why I keep focusing on the same topic, because a lot of these things that you're saying, I don't know how I felt them or why I feel them or why, you know, they're around me, but there's been this constant feeling of exactly what you're talking about, and I've been saying, please just show yourselves, please. You know, we need to see you. We need to feel like you haven't abandoned us. A lot of the time, I look up to the sky and go, "Come on, come. It's okay. We're not that bad." But I feel what you're saying.
You're using your will, and if you push it, you can't push the river, Penny.
You can't push it. Yeah.
You have to let it go, let them, or let go, let God, like they say, and that's exactly the definition of journeying. You do not push. Yeah. They are playful. So I want to go into a little journey now, have you get a little bit of a taste of what I'm talking about, and have you guys connect with your higher selves, or your full potential selves, or your divine parts, or whatever you want to call it. There's so many names for it, I lost track. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you in a little while to breathe 30 times with your eyes looking at the top of your head and your tongue at the roof of your mouth, at the palate. I'd like you to breathe 30 times, not now, hold on just a little bit. And then after those 30 times, if you can take a piece of paper out right now and write down on the top of the paper, my intent is to connect with my higher self. Just write that on a piece of paper right now, put it in front of you, because I'm going to give it to you straight. The easiest way to connect is by writing. We've noticed, and it's been said that most people connect easily by dialoguing. We say it's dialoguing in a written way, not in a verbal way, but eventually in shamanism, you're going to learn in a verbal way. But in a written way, it's a lot easier. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to breathe 30 times, slowly and deeply, with your eyes rolled up and back into your head, with your tongue at the roof of your mouth. And then after that, you're going to open your eyes, and you're going to ask a question on a piece of paper. Now the question, excuse me, could be, how can I become a true shaman? How can I become a true healer, or a better healer if you're already a healer? How can I become more conscious? How can I navigate these waters nowadays with the corona, with everything that's going on in the world? How can I help others, help myself? These are all questions I'll leave up to you. Just write it down, you know, if you want, and then when you open your eyes, you can read it. So you have the intent. My intent is to connect with my higher self. And then after that, my question would be, how can I become a better shaman? How can I become a better healer? Or how can I navigate this new era that's happening without going nuts? Probably be a good question to ask. All right, now the key for this, Penny, and everybody else, of course, is to not push the river. So you have to be playful, super playful. I'll tell you what, all the guys, the good guys, the spirits we're going to work with are very, very loving, and they have a superb sense of humor. I'm telling you, they are really, really funny, very funny. So I want you to consider them as your sisters and brothers, not like a being, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, you know, you are the consciousness, whatever. Get rid of that fast. We don't have a lot of time now. Why is that? Because it's happening now. So be playful, be joyful. If you feel that you're not getting it, you're going to stress a little bit, stop it. Go into the play, pretend and imagine. Another thing, get rid of that inner critic. As soon as you get a thought like, oh, this is bullshit, you know, what's Mark talking about? Get rid of it fast. Send it to light and love. All you have to do is go, pew, blow it away into light and love. And a big one, no doubts whatsoever. If you're going to doubt, it's going to take you longer. My job is to get you there fast, and I know how to do that. Without drugs, without entheogens, without psychedelics. I love plant work, but you don't have to do it. We can do it, guess what? With the breath. Your spirit is in the breath. You don't need anything. You have everything in you. You ready for action? All right, so write down on the piece of paper, my intent is to connect to my higher self. My question is, write that question. We're going to breathe 30 times.
So it's just going to be one question? Sorry.
Yeah, for now. But then okay. You can continue, reconnect after we're done, reconnect and ask him, her, it. It could show up as an animal, it could show up as a human being, it could show up in a weird form. It doesn't matter. You continue and you ask, you get to know it. Just like you're getting to know a person. Hi, where are you from? What you been doing? What did you study? Well, you're not going to ask them what they studied because they'll probably give you a weird answer. But ask them questions as if they're a good friend. That somebody you're resonating with. Oh, you know, I'd really like to get to know you. You know, you can tell them that. You got to be cool, cool-headed. My English friends say, Mark, cool is a temperature. Well, you know, us Americans, we love the word cool. We're going to use cool-headed for my English friends. So be cool-headed, be playful. Let's do it now. So we're going to breathe 30 times. with your eyes rolled up in your head, your tongue at the palate. After the 30 times, you relax, you open your eyes, you write a question, or if you have already written it, you read it, and then what? You close your eyes, and you're going to receive an answer. Now, if you think you're not going to receive an answer, you're not going to receive an answer. But if you're playful, no doubts, no criticism, no negative stuff, you will receive an answer. You'll start writing. Lend your mind to the higher self. So you ask a question, now say, I'm going to lend you my mind. You're going to receive an answer. Gabish? All right, let's roll. Let's do it. At the count of 3. Close your eyes, please. Focus with me. You know your intent. Put your tongue to your palate, to the roof of your mouth. Roll your eyes up. Let's go. At the count of 3, breathe in deep and fast. 1, 2, 3. Open your eyes, read your question, take your pen and answer your question by lending your mind to your higher self. I won't talk for a couple of minutes. Talk to you later. Keep writing. Okay, some of you are pushing. Don't push. Just let it happen. Just lend your mind. Use your imagination. It will come easily and flow right into the pen or pencil. No pushing. It's very simple. It's not hard. It's very, very easy. Easy does it.
So, like after we've written the answer to the question, so it's
Okay.
like.
So let me interrupt you. Okay, Madiha, go ahead, please.
With the answer or with my question?
No, did you get something? Did you get some answers?
Yeah, I did. I was like, you know, as you stated that we need to have an open mind and, you know, just don't force. So it was something which was very natural. I mean,
Exactly.
it wasn't something I wasn't, you know, forcing myself or anything. It was like, you know, yeah, just went with the flow.
Tell us what if you want to share, can you tell us if you want to?
Yeah, it's like my question was, how can I be a better healer? And then it was all about I need to have an open and a receptive heart.
Okay.
And I need to receive and have that approach of receiving.
Okay, so did you get a him or her or it? What did you get? Did you see the form or did you just sense it or feel it?
It was just I just felt something like tingling.
Uh-huh.
A tingling sensation, and then it was like, you know, I just started writing. I couldn't stop, so I just wrote 1.5 pages.
That's great. I'm sorry I interrupted your process. You can pick up right after this. Anybody else? Stella, did you get anything?
Yeah. Okay. I saw myself in the cosmos, and I was like changing my appearance. I asked, how can I be a true shaman or a better healer as well? And yeah, it says that you have it. Just be true to yourself. It's like it's saying to me that you got to let go of what's holding you back.
So have integrity, be true to yourself. Very important. Why is that? Because if you're not true to yourself, you have guilt. Guilt will block you. If you feel guilty about anything, that's all right. Thanks, Stella. Penny, did you raise your hand? No. Did you want to say something? No.
Yeah, for me, it was very powerful. I actually asked the question on a certain relationship, whether I should walk out of it or not. Like, what should I do about it? Not a personal relationship, but anyways. But I got like Madiha, a lot of answers, and literally it says like you walk out to achieve your purpose. Your higher purpose awaits you. You need to break the chains of fear that have imprisoned you, but be smart, be fierce, be like a tiger, do not stop and do not compromise. And
okay.
Yeah, and then don't be stuck in ego talk from other parties. Let go, surrender, let go to God. We are with you to guide your path to bigger and better and more powerful things. You are a gift. Go out and heal and shine your light.
It sounds like a typical answer, and congratulations. Your tiger might be your power animal. It might be, I'm not sure. If you got
no, it's somewhat similar to what I got as well, but not the animal. That's truly powerful that she could identify her animal. Congratulations for that.
Yeah, so that's great, Noha, and it sounds right on track. And then another question you could ask is how to do that. They will tell you. Tell me, Sonia. What's up, Sonia?
Well, I saw a man and it was like a Native American man. There's fire in the middle and just music and chanting and rituals. And what I got out of it was space, energy, breathing, nature. They were just words, music, and that was all just, the flow of what was coming out.
Well, that's a great way to connect. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so it was mainly about nature, energy, breathing, space, music, fire, and feathers.
That sure sounds like a shaman to me. So maybe your higher self is that shaman. Actually, not maybe. You should know better. You know
Yeah,
better.
I've been told, and apparently my spirit guardians are shamans as well, the two men.
Well, then, Sonia, I'll tell you what. I think it's crucial that you take this course if that's the case.
Yeah.
And I think so for Naha and Stella, of course, and Penny. Now, the others, that's okay. I feel your energy. You don't have to talk, but if you want to, please share. Ask me questions. Dimitra, Aya, Erica, Roa, Alina, Parvan, please ask me questions. Did you get? Hi.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry.
Who am I talking to? Sorry. Where am I? Yeah.
I arrived late. Not sure if we talked about this. And I'm very new to this shamanic healing. I wanted to know if once, for example, we go through the course, do we get, and we get connected to our higher self, do we get to know about our past lives as well? Is this...
Yeah, so, yes, very good question, Sonia, thanks. Most people love past lives. Yes, you can ask your principal guide. Once you are introduced and your principal guide comes to you, you can ask your principal guide or the archangels to take you to past lives. We just did that a couple of days ago. And, you know, it's very interesting because you will learn a lot from your past lives. You will learn why you are who you are today and why you are who you are today. For example, I was in a lot of battles in my past lives. I was tortured a lot. So I know where this comes from, and that's why, you know, I like entheogens so much. Because when you're in these worlds, it is so much like taking MDMA. You feel an ecstasy, but without taking anything. It's so healing for somebody who's been through a lot of trauma. It's extremely healing. And yes, you can go into your past lives, and you can do much more than that. You will also, by the way, everybody will be on a WhatsApp group, which is my tribe. I call it my tribe. It's a modern shamanism tribe. You will also learn how to use the shamanism in practical ways in your work and in your relationships, with when you feel stressed, etc. And this group that I have, the WhatsApp group, will be a group for life. So you can ask me a bunch of questions. This is a great benefit to ask questions to the tribe. Now, I have many tribes. I have a breathwork tribe and all those, but the shamanic tribe is a very special tribe because I really believe that it's time for this now. And I'm being very, how do you say that? Very, how do you say that in English? Hold on, let me find the word. Very pointilleux, they say in French. Very picky about this shamanism course. So I will tire you a little bit, but I will never give up on you. And I want you to know that it's easy to do. And thanks to everyone for sharing. Yeah, thank you, Alina. So I just want to say, you know, thanks a lot for allowing me to talk to you. The course will be on the 24th and 25th from 10 to 6. I encourage you to take it. I'm going to stay a couple more minutes. Please, if you have any questions I haven't answered. It's so big. Shamanism is huge. I can't just finish an introduction in 1 hour. But I wanted I want to give you a taste of how it is to connect with your higher self, because all the other guys are going to be filtered through your higher self, and that's the protective layer that we put on our work. Any questions?
So I just have a question that, you know, you mentioned that, you know, we can reconnect and then we know how to do things, like, you know, we also get the guidance that how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
For example, if I get an answer later when I learn the course, the first one, right? So I'll be able to know how to do the things to
yes, definitely
get to my track.
Yes, I'm going to give you a little booklet what you're going to read, which is going to give you a step-by-step journey on how to connect with your principal guide, principal animal, power animal, and with other worlds like divinity, the palace of divinity, and other beings of light. So yes, you will be guided step by step. You'll have something to read. I'll also have slides, and you can also ask questions on the group. And you can always ask me and send me a WhatsApp. Just give me time to answer, because I try to answer everybody, and sometimes it takes me a little while to answer.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Madia. Thanks, everyone. God bless, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. See you
Thank
soon.
you, Mark. Bye.
Bye.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.